Hi, this is Sister Lydia, and I want to talk to you about something that the Lord has had in my spirit the last couple of days, and it has to deal with forgiveness. One of the mandates as Christians that God has given us is forgiveness, to forgive, as He often forgives us. But we seem to be most challenged with it. When we're hurt, when we're angry, when someone has harmed us in some way, forgiveness doesn't come easy, and it is a process. We forget about all the times that God has forgiven us, that every new morning, every new day is a day of new mercies, of new grace, of grace that is actually God's forgiveness. That He gives us another opportunity to try to do right by Him and to try to also forgive others. I'm reminded of years ago, we had a neighbor and she had asked her son to turn off a pressure cooker. I don't know if you remember back in the day, and I don't know if they still exist, but you have this pressure cooker that had a lid and it was sealed on, and she was cooking something in that pressure cooker. Well, he didn't just turn it off. He took it to the sink and did what you aren't supposed to do. He took cold water, turned cold water on it, and all the contents, that pressure from within, all that content just exploded. Everything that was within that pot landed in some shape, form, or fashion in hair, on clothes, in the ceiling, on curtains, on the walls. To me, as a child, it was hilarious. But they were not happy, and his mother was not happy. But that reminds me that unforgiveness can be like that. Unforgiveness that where we have pressed down and compressed our hurt and we're hiding it, we're holding on to it, we've hardened our hearts because they've hurt us, and I'm not going to forgive them. I don't want to forgive them. But we need to have that sparkling of a desire in our heart for God to start chipping away at that and start help ministering to you so you can move on. Because as long as you're holding on to that unforgiveness, then that person who has probably gone on with their life, that person still has some type of control over you. He still has power of your emotions and your responses. So let's try to expose the devil as a liar. We don't want unforgiveness to be like a cancer, an undetected cancer that's festering and is spreading throughout the body, ready to hurt and harm and destroy you. What unforgiveness does is that it blocks our spiritual maturity and our growth. In Ephesians, it talks about telling us to get rid of all the malice and all the bitterness and rage that we have, all the slander and brawling that we hold on to and we do to one another, but for us to be kind and compassionate to one another, to give an extension of forgiveness. And two key words within that verse reads, just as. And it continues on to say, just as Christ God forgave us. Just as. In other words, Jesus has already given us an example of forgiveness. He has forgiven us before we were even born. He has already set the example. So we can't say that we don't know what forgiveness is like because He's already shown it to us, and He continues to do that continue to do that for us every day. Forgiveness is our spiritual growth. It's for us to grow vertically in a relationship with God. In order to do that, we have to manage our horizontal relationships. I've been in situations a few times where I've been so hurt and so crushed, but I've had to forgive that person. And that was a process. And it didn't come suddenly, but each time I've had to go through it, each time gets better and better because I know God will bring me through. I trust and believe Him for that. I have that desire in my heart. And as long as there's that desire, God can use that. He can work on that. In Matthew 18, Peter asked Jesus once, how many times must I forgive? 7 times? And Jesus' response was, 7 times? Oh no, 70 times 7. In other words, as often as it might take. That's how often you are to forgive. Don't keep count. Just forgive. So our decision to forgive, what it does is it not only restores our relationship with God, but it restores our own peace. It restores the control and power over our own emotions and our own responses. At the same time, it can also offer an opportunity of redemption for the other person. So forgiveness is a mandate from God for a reason. In Matthew 5, verses 23 through 24, it reads as, and out of the Message version, "This is how I want you to conduct yourselves in these matters. If you enter your place of worship and about to make an offering, you suddenly remember a grudge a friend has against you. Abandon your offering. Leave immediately. Go straight to this friend, to this person, to the one that harmed you, that hurt you, and make things right. Then and only then come back and work things out with God." So even if you go to that person and you offer your apology, or you say, "I forgive you," even though they haven't apologized to you, what they do with that is on them. That's between them and their God. What it does for you is help you grow in your relationship. It frees you up. And like I said, it restores your peace. And it restores your spiritual maturity and your spiritual growth that you're striving for in a relationship with God. Don't let that unforgiveness serve as a fester. What it does is it blocks and it hinders and it provides obstacles for future relationships. You don't want that. God wants better for you. He has better planned for you. But some things you have to allow Him to heal you from. So I say to you this evening that I pray that something I've said can help you in whatever that may be a burden on your heart. No, it isn't easy, but the best way to reach forgiveness is in prayer. Ask God to help you, and He will see you through. God's forgiving embrace. Have a great evening. It's Sister Lydia. Talk to you later.